Welcome everyone. A few weeks ago, I held a poll series on my YouTube channel where all of you folks voted on your favorite Kaiserreich leaders. It is you who created this scenario that we have in front of us now, voting for every single nation in the world, from Argentina to the Union of Britain to Australasia to South Africa and the Arab republics. Now we shall take a look at the world that you all have created today. So let's begin. The world in 1944 is a strange place. Despite winning World War I, the German Reich has been defeated in World War II, defeated by the twin alliances, the first being the Moscow Accords of the Russian state under Boris Savinkov, and in the West, the Third International, led by the socialist powers of Britain, France, and the Italian Social Republic. In America, HOI4 has reunified the United States, and in China, the left KMT has reunified China. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go bit by bit. First of all, let's scroll over the map once. This is the map of Europe. After its defeat, the German state was forced to sign the Treaty of Berlin, according to which Germany was divided up into various states which are ruled by their respective overlords. For example, the German state is a Russian puppet state. Then the South German Union is an Italian puppet state. The Rhenish Union, the Belgian Commune, the Dutch Commune, and the North German Union are all puppet states of the Commune of France. After winning in the East, Boris Savinkov has also established his own client states in Czechia, Hungary, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and Finland. In Denmark, the Third International has established its own socialist republic, the Danish Socialist Republic. But the Danish monarchy has fled to the island of Iceland, where the Kingdom of Denmark continues to exist. There is extreme tension between the two Denmarks, and there is always a fear of war. Thankfully, the remnants of the Entente under the dominion of Canada, the Kingdom of Denmark, have signed a ceasefire agreement with the Socialist Alliance. This agreement had to be made after the total defeat and collapse of the French state, the remnant of the old France in exile in Africa. But some are more luckier than others. Unable to defeat the Germans in Africa after heavy fighting, the socialist world signed a ceasefire agreement where the status quo ante bellum was preserved in Africa. Now the German Kaiser has fled to Africa. Similarly, German rule continues in German East Asia. In the Far East, the Japanese Empire has been forced to sign its own peace treaty with the Republic of China and Boris Savinkov's Russian state. So this is the world that you have created. But let us see it in some more depth, shall we? First of all, let's see an ideological map of the world. Dark red is totalism. Totalism is an ideology which attempts to destroy the democracy of syndicalism and replace it with a strong central authority. The strains of totalism differ from nation to nation. For example, British totalism is completely different from the totalism of Benito Mussolini's Italian Social Republic or Marcel Dietz' Commune of France. Similarly, Subhash Bose's Bharatiya Commune has a completely different flavor of totalism. But nevertheless, today, totalism is the dominant socialist ideology, as it completely dominates Western Europe. The second ideology is anarchism of the Iberian Confederation. After that, we have radical socialism, those socialist strains like Yugoslavia in orange, which cannot really be classified as either syndicalist or totalist. There are only three radical socialist states in the world. The first is Yugoslavia, the second is in the Insulindian Republic, and the third is the United Mexican States. After that, we have syndicalism. Once the dominant socialist strain in Western Europe, now it is only confined to Central America under Augusto Cesar Sandino. We shall come to him in more depth later. But for now, syndicalism or rule of the workers' unions is only confined to Central America. The next ideology, the second most dominant ideology in the world is national populism. The national populism is a catch all term for all the anti democratic, one party, totalitarian dictatorships of the world. These are mostly prevalent in the Russian state and its client states of Poland, Czechia, Germany, Hungary, and Finland. But in the Republic of Iran, which is not a Russian puppet state, Temurtaş's dictatorship is classified as national populist. Another major national populist empire is the Japanese Empire, which controls Malaya, the Philippines, and Taiwan. Then we have Van Rensburg's South African Republic and the Integralist Empire of Brazil, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay. After that, we have the next ideology, which is conservatism. The Ottoman Empire is conservative, the Kingdom of Egypt, the Ethiopian Empire, the American Union States, Haiti, the Dominican Republic are all conservative states. Then we have and also Ireland. Ireland is also conservative. Then we have paternal autocracy, a dictatorship for the good of the people. In most cases, paternal autocracy in grey are monarchies like the Kingdom of Denmark, the Kingdom of Libya, the Kingdom of Najd, Kingdom of Oman, Kingdom of Afghanistan, the German Kaiserreich in exile, the Kingdom of Thailand, German East Asia, the Empire of Vietnam, which is a German East Asian puppet state, as you can see here. But we shall come to that in more depth later. The Great Mongolian State is another quote unquote monarchy. Then the non monarchical paternal autocratic states are Gran Colombia, Argentina, and Chile. After that, we have social democracy, which is mostly prevalent in the United Arab Republic, the Republic of Australia, and the Dominion of Canada, which is a constitutional monarchy. Then we have liberalism, once a dominant ideology before the Great War, now reduced only to Romania, Uruguay, and Ecuador. Oh, wait, did I forget something? The biggest social democratic state in the world, sorry, the biggest liberal state in the world is the Republic of China. Although the Republic of China is de jure a radical socialist state, it is de facto social liberal. And I shall come to that later. Now let us move on to looking at the world in more depth. As I said before, the world is divided up between the Third International, the trio of Mussolini, Diet on one side, and Boris Savinkov on the other side. And then we have Huey Long, whose American Union states enjoy splendid isolation under the Monroe Doctrine in the New World. This is a map of Europe in more depth. Europe today is mostly made up of socialist states on one side of the Iron Curtain, which runs all the way from the northern end of Germany going through to the German states, Czechia, Hungary. Yugoslavia is technically a member of the Third International, but it does not follow totalism. But the Iron Curtain then goes through Hungary, from there it passes through Romania, the Tsardom of Bulgaria, and then Greece. And that's where it stops. This is the Iron Curtain. And then there are some kingdoms, actually only three. The Kingdom of Romania, the Tsardom of Bulgaria, and the Kingdom of Greece. And the Ottoman Empire if you count Turkey as being a European power. Let's take a look at them in more depth. The Union of Britain. The Union of Britain is led by the totalist chairman Oswald Mosley of the Marxist faction. The Marxists stress the need for total commitment to socialism and the maximum effort for the revolution, as they want to lead Britain on the path of action. They don't believe in useless syndicalist workers' unions and endless debates. They want real action. They are extremely critical of syndicalism's decentralized government, which they believe to be hampering the nation's economic potential. They also have a long-standing paramilitary force called the Popular Revolutionary Guards, which they use to intimidate political opponents. Totalism refers to a loosely aligned group of political ideologies based around the tenets of authoritarian socialism. Mosley himself places a heavy emphasis on the importance of class warfare and self sacrifice, as he despises an organized bureaucracy and democratic institutions for a socialist revolution. Then we have the Commune of France. Now, in the Commune of France, Marcel Diet and the Jacobin Party could not gain total control as they had hoped for. Instead, they came to power from a back door. They came to power after the election of 1941. As a result, Diet has been forced to moderate his own positions. In truth, the Jacobins are authoritarian technocrats who seek to abolish the syndicalist system and bring about a technician state. They are inspired by neo socialism as well as the history of the French Revolution. They want to rid France of the anarchistic and syndicalist characteristics and form a vanguard to lead a neo socialist reconstruction. But thanks to their new moderate position, they are forced to comply with the syndicalist democracy of the Commune of France. It is unknown what will happen in the near future. Will Diet be able to completely consolidate power, or will the syndicalists do a comeback in the election of 1945? God knows. But further down south, someone has managed to consolidate his power much more than Diet or Mosley could have ever imagined, and that is the Italian Social Republic. Many times one questions whether Benito Mussolini is even socialist, or is he just a national populist hiding behind the red color of socialism? The Italian Social Republic is led by the totalitarian president Benito Mussolini of the Partito del Lavoro Fascista, or the Fascist Labour Party. Unlike Mosley or Diet's totalism, Mussolini is totalitarianism. Since coming to power, Mussolini has went on to consolidate power into the presidency, taking over the title of Il Duce and reforming the Socialist Republic into the Italian Social Republic. Executive orders are passed to suppress press freedom, and the parliament has been permanently dissolved. Benito Mussolini is now the unquestionably totalitarian leader of the Italian Social Republic. His black shirts perform the work of bullying and purging all opponents to his rule. His policies include large scale centralization of all authority, rabid nationalistic militarism, destruction of syndicalism, democracy, and the far right. Most worker related trade union reforms have been repudiated or sidelined, and everyone and everything now lives under the long shadow of Il Duce. But in the Norwegian Social Republic, it is led by the totalist premier Albin Eines. Now, it is quite weird that once upon a time Norway was a Swedish puppet state. But after the events of the Second Weltkrieg, in which the Swedes were defeated by the Third International, the socialists set up a new puppet state of the Swedish Commune. And since it is mostly influenced by the Norwegian Socialist Republic under Albin Eines, the roles have now been reversed. Now Norway is the puppet state. Sorry, now Sweden is the puppet state and Norway is the overlord. But while the totalists have managed to subvert syndicalism and went on to establish hardline dictatorships, Spain or Iberia has taken a completely different way of embracing socialism. You see, in the Iberian anarchy, there is only one rule, and that is rule of nobody. Buenaventura Durruti is the ideological guide of the CNT, Confederación Nacional del Trabajo. But he is not the leader of Spain, or Iberia as it is called now. He is merely the guide. In truth, Iberia is led by anarchist people's councils. Durruti has abolished the state and established a new anarcho syndicalist rule of the workers via their unions. The anarcho syndicalist idea is centered on the idea that power corrupts and that any hierarchy that cannot be ethically justified must be dismantled and destroyed. This might include large scale trade unions, workers' councils, or the police force. Thus, they do not desire any central leadership at all. After coming to power, the CNT have immediately divided all land into anarchist communes. They have collectivized all land and companies, given autonomy to several areas, and abolished the hierarchical army in favor of free militias to start a new radical socialist revolution armed with revolutionary fervor. The Iberian Confederation has some of its own, I would say, guided states and not puppet states. This includes the Iberian Confederation, the Moroccan Socialist Republic, the Angolan Free State, and the Free State of Mozambique. But we shall come to those later. For now, we shall continue to focus on Europe. Another completely different focus or different way to embrace socialism is the Balkan Socialist Federation, or Yugoslavia as it is officially called. The Balkan Socialist Federation is led by the radical socialist president Joseph Broz Tito of the Socialist Workers' Party. He is the successor of Trifun Kaklerovic and Milan Gorkic. Trifun Kaklerovic first won the Serb elections in 1938. Soon after that, Kaklerovic declared new policies like consolidating the tax system, increasing healthcare coverage, and slowly eroding Serbian democracy. Once his popularity reached new heights, he declared a state of emergency and proclaimed a new revolutionary regime in Serbia. Reforms were announced, a class war was initiated wherein the old bourgeoisie and feudal landlords were punished. All industries were transferred to the workers' union with mandatory union ownership, and youth work brigades were created. After Kaklerovic was removed in the Vukovar Congress, Joseph Broz Tito came to power. The Kingdom of Greece is led by King Georgios II and led by the liberal Prime Minister. The Kingdom of that was a mistake. The Kingdom of Greece is a monarchic dictatorship led by King George II. The Kingdom of Romania is led by King Mihai II and led by the liberal Prime Minister Iuliu Maniu of the National Peasants' Party Centre Wing. They want to establish a peasant state in Romania, away from bourgeois democracy. After that, we have Boris Savinkov's Russian state, the second greatest power on earth, behind the Socialist International. Boris Savinkov is many things to many people: a terrorist, a tyrant, a savior. But none can dispute that he is today the most powerful man in Russia, and his dictatorship is all powerful. He is the watch of Russia. Savinkov's ideology calls for a free Russia that is neither white nor czarist, and definitely not red. He wants a Slavophile democracy, as he regards the Russian masses to be ignorant, gullible, selfish, and unable to understand sophisticated political concepts. Believing that they lack the necessary civic maturity, Savinkov has come to the conclusion that they need to be ruled from above by a mature and conscientious elite. The purges and political repression that are a common feature of authoritarian regimes is a major part of Savinkov's rule. While he tends to display a positive attitude towards assimilated Russian Jews, more visible Jewish individuals are seen as alien in a chauvinistic worldview. Savinkov has conquered Ukraine, Central Asia, and the Baltics directly or indirectly into his authoritarian federal Russia. But he is okay with Finland and Poland being nominally independent, as he does not consider them to be an integral part of Russia. He uses Eurasianism as a tool similar to how Imperial Japan uses Pan-Asianism for its own machinations. Now remember the subtle difference between the puppet states of Eastern Europe. German state, Czechia, Hungary, Poland, and Finland are Savinkov's puppet states. They are led and ruled by dictators loyal to Moscow. But Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania are not puppet states. They are merely Russian federal states with more autonomy than normal federal states like Kalmykia, Siberia, or the Sakha Republic. And for that reason, they do not deserve to have a name on this map. The same is also true for East Prussian Republic, which is a republic completely separate from German state. In East Prussia, Savinkov has declared a new state where Russians and Germans together live in a harmony of the old warrior class of Prussia. He wants to encourage a new peasants' revolution which is not red. Even in the German state, Savinkov has not really destroyed all the old landowners as has been done in the North German Union or the South German Union. For there, Diet and Mussolini has completely purged the rich, the landowners, the old bureaucracy, and everyone loyal to the Kaiserreich. In the German state, Savinkov has merely gotten rid of the Junkers. For he has declared that the Germans are a brave militaristic people which had been led astray by the Junker elite. Thus, anyone loyal to the Kaiser but only in the upper echelons of the government and the nobility have been purged by Savinkov and sent to Siberia or forced into exile. But the lower nobility, the peasants, the old supporters of the Kaiser have been kept as they were in the new right wing German state. The Ottoman Empire was once defeated by the Arab alliance, and the empire fell after that. But the Ottoman Empire was reunified by the Ottoman Salvation Association. Under Refet Pasha, the Ottoman Empire was reinstituted and Sultan Omer I was called back to rule the Ottoman Empire. Now the Ottoman Empire is more of a Turkish nationalist state, nominally ruled by Sultan Omer I. After that, we come to Africa. Africa can be divided into two blocks. A socialist bloc made up of the Moroccan Socialist Republic and the Third International Provisional Occupation of Africa, and then the kingdoms of Libya, Egypt, Niger. In the Arab world, a cold war is currently going on between the United Arab Republic, which is loyal to the Third International, and the kingdoms of Libya, Egypt, Niger, and Oman, which are slightly pro Moscow, although non aligned in name. Now let us go over them one by one. The first is the kingdom of Niger, which is still ruled by the South family. The kingdom of Libya is ruled by King Idris I. But then we have a completely new kind of autocracy. You see, after the defeat of the Ottoman Empire, King of Egypt, King Farouk, wanted to be the sole ruler of all the Arabs and to reunify all the Arab lands under his crown. But that was opposed by Republican leaders in Syria and Iraq. After hasty negotiations, Arab unification could not be achieved. But suddenly, President Taha al Hashimi of Iraq launched a kind of soft coup. He reunified Syria and Iraq once more after 1,000 years and formed the United Arab Republic. It is a Republican Union which was formed to oppose the overburdening Egyptians who wanted a monarchist dominated conservative Arab state. Working with the Al Ahali group, Taha al Hashimi has he has embraced a kind of social democratic dictatorship. He is not really a dictator, but more of a populist. Taha al Hashimi wins almost every election in Iraq by a large margin. Many people call him the father of all Arabs. And together with the Third International, he wants to export the revolution to Egypt, Libya, Niger, and Oman, and establish new Arab republics in all of these states. There was an aborted coup attempt in Libya, but who knows, maybe in the future, new young kids might finally coup the governments of Libya, Egypt, Niger, and Oman and bring out republican revolutions all across the Arab world. Elsewhere, we have the Third International Occupation of Africa. This is a unique experiment. After the complete destruction of the French state, the Third International Occupation of Africa was established. It is led by Michele Bianchi. The de jure leader is Senegalese leader Amadou Lamine Gueye, who is a staunch socialist. The Third International does not intend to occupy Africa forever. It wants to slowly establish socialist republics with a peaceful decolonization. But Michele Bianchi acts as more of a diplomat for the Italian Social Republic and Benito Mussolini's socialist neo imperialism. Benito Mussolini's plan is different. He wants to establish hardline total states which are mere puppet state of the Italian Social Republic. Only time will tell whether Gueye's alliance with Diet and Mussolini will win, or Benito Mussolini's Michele Bianchi will manage to dominate Gueye and establish puppet states of the Italian Social Republic. Elsewhere, the Ethiopian Empire has defeated the Bokoret of Somalia and conquered the Ogaden in the Ogaden War. After that, we come to South Asia. The Kingdom of Afghanistan is ruled by King Amanullah Khan, and the Republic of Iran is led by Abdul Hussein Temurtash of the Party of New Iran, which basically wants to embrace Boris Savinkov's national populist peasant ideology to the full. Iran today is merely an extension of Russia. Then we have the Bharatiya Commune under Subhash Chandra Bose. Bose has established a puppet state in the Burmese Socialist Republic. Subhash Bose wants a totalitarian revolution in India. He wants to destroy the Indian caste system by a strong rule from the center. He has established huge states in India based on cultural linguistic basis. Subhash Bose does, however, opposes Benito Mussolini and Marcel Diet and Mussolini's totalism. Instead, his totalism is more an extension of Gandhi's agrarianism. He wants a more centrally managed Indian state. He has complete faith in Gandhi's agrarianism, but at the same time, he opposes Gandhi's sole obsession with agrarianism. Instead, he wants to develop India as a heavy industry hub. Starting from zero, Bose aims to build up India's heavy industry with a strong rule from Delhi. New Delhi today is the center of a totalist revolution in Asia. He is bitterly opposed by the Republic of China. The Republic of China is in a weird position. But first, let us examine its international position. After a bitter 6-year war with the Japanese Empire, the Republic of China under the left KMT not only reunified China but also won the war. A puppet state was established in the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The Japanese initially did not intend to surrender to a lesser being like China, but after Boris Savinkov's entry into the war and the complete destruction of Japan's army in Korea, the Japanese finally agreed to a ceasefire and not a formal peace treaty. Emperor Hirohito sits at the head of a totalitarian dictatorship of his own. But now Japan has been permanently humiliated, and a second war might be launched at any moment. Today, East Asia is not at peace. But now let us return back to the left KMT. Even after reunifying China, the left KMT fell into a second civil war. Thankfully, the second civil war was not a true civil war, but more of socialist infighting. Today, the Republic of China is de jure led by the radical socialist chairwoman President Song Qingling, but real power is held by her social liberal deputy Sun Fo. Sun Fo has sidelined Song Qingling's socialism and dampened the socialist radicalism of her regime, while paving the way for true liberal democracy. Song is the president of the republic, but Sun is the executive yuan, and he has been given the position of vice chairman of the party. Sun Fo has rapidly strengthened the premiership of the executive yuan at the expense of the presidency to fulfill his dream of a free China, which is under white nor red dictatorship but instead a free federalist liberal democracy. And that's why China is marked not as socialist, but as liberal on our map. While working inside the framework of Song's socialist government, Sun Fo has slowly dampened its socialist radicalism and replaced power from the executive to the legislature. He slowly hopes to reinstate full democracy in just a few years and utterly destabilize and sideline Song Qingling. China today is led by Sun Fo. Then we have Baron Roman von Ungern-Sternberg's great Mongolian state. Despite being a Baltic German, Baron Roman von Ungern-Sternberg is a hardline Mongolian nationalist, for he looks at himself as a natural warlord of Mongolia, as a sort of ideological descendant of Genghis Khan and his hordes. He is tolerated by Boris Savinkov as a good buffer state between the Socialist Republic of China and the Japanese Empire. Savinkov knows that under Baron Roman von Ungern-Sternberg, Mongolia will always be extremely loyal to Russia and may be a very important asset in extending the Russian arm of influence in Asia. Then we have Southeast Asia. The Kingdom of Thailand is ruled by King Prajadipok, who has launched a number of reforms. In German East Asia, Mucke managed to hold out. Prussia was once called an army with a state. Now German East Asia is a navy with a state. After the German defeat and the fall of Berlin, Mucke decided to establish the Empire of Vietnam under the leadership of Emperor Bao Dai. It is a sort of extension of German East Asia, a puppet state. Bao Dai's foreign matters and military matters are all managed by Mucke. And despite that, Bao Dai does not rule over the entire Indochina, but only over Vietnam. Laos and Cambodia, or what remains of Cambodia, are still nominally under Kaiser Wilhelm III. Insulindian Republic is led by the radical socialist President Muhammad Hatta of the Murawa Party, and the Republic of Australasia is led by Prime Minister Chifley, by Prime Minister Joseph Chifley of the Australian Labor Party. He is a social democrat. The Republic of Australasia was established after the total defeat of the Entente. The Australasians voted in a referendum to remove the King Edward's rule over Australasia, after which a new republican constitution was declared. Now we come to the New World. The American Union state is led by President Huey Long. Huey Long is head of the America First Party. He has collaborated with the establishment after winning the brutal American Civil War. He aims to pursue a détente with big business and old political machines. His Minutemen militia, which were very vital for winning the Second American Civil War, have been relaxed. Armed with his new allies, Long uses loans acquired from businessmen and the old wealthy to fund agricultural and reconstruction bills. America remains isolationist on the global stage. The United Mexican States is led by the successor of Pancho Villa, the radical socialist, agrarian, peasant socialist Antonio Irineo Villarreal, while Central America is ruled by the syndicalist president Augusto Cesar Sandino, who has reunified Central America with some help from the socialist government of the United Mexican States, and of course the Third International. The Dominion of Canada is ruled by King Edward VIII. Despite his controversial marriage with the American actress, King Edward VIII continued to lead the Entente in World War II, but sadly, they were not successful. The French were completely destroyed, but a ceasefire was signed with the Third International and Russia and the Dominion of Canada, because now there is a situation where the Third International cannot defeat the Dominion of Canada, and the Dominion of Canada cannot invade mainland Europe. Thanks to the powerful navies of the Dominion of Canada and the powerful armies of the Third International. Thus, the Royal Navy today is the bulwark of what remained of the once powerful British Empire on which the sun never set. The Socialist Republic of Cuba is another bastion of totalism in the New World. Cuba is indeed the only totalist state in the New World, and it stands firmly in opposition to the American Union state. It is a huge surprise that a totalist state lies just a few kilometers away from Huelong's conservative American Union state. In the future, this is sure to cause huge diplomatic issues. Cuba is led by Tina Moretti Mela. She is the wife of Julio Mela. Julio Mela took over total control over the Cuban Socialist Congress after the Cuban Revolution in 1938. Armed with power from Mussolini and Dietz, European socialists, Julio Mela attempted his own totalist revolution in Cuba inspired by Mussolini. But sadly, Julio Mela was shot by some syndicalist dissenters. After that, his wife Tina Moretti Mela launched a second coup. Now, Tina Moretti Mela has launched a socialist revolution more radical than even the most radical totalists of Europe. She aims to take revenge for her husband's death. Nobody will be spared. Today, Cuba stands alongside the Italian Social Republic as one of the most horrendous dictatorships in the world, with a complete focus on puritanical socialism. The world knows, or only God knows, what this mad woman will achieve in the future. After that, we have South America. South America is divided up between national populist powers like Paraguay and Brazil. Let us look at them one by one. The Empire of Brazil is ruled by Emperor Pedro III and led by the integralist Prime Minister Gustavo Dort Barroso. The integralists favor nationalism as a shared spiritual identity in the context of a heterogeneous and tolerant nation influenced by Christian virtues. Such virtues being concretely enforced by means of an authoritarian government, enforcing compulsory political activity under the guidance of an acknowledged leader, that being Gustavo Dort Barroso. While they pretend to establish a Brazil free for people of all races, color, and ethnicities, Barroso is an anti Semite. Despite that, he denounces materialism, liberalism, and Marxism in favor of a natural state, a natural order as that which had existed before 1789 and the French Revolution. After that, the Union of Peru-Bolivia is led by the national populist premier or president Riva Aguero. Actually, the official name of Peru-Bolivia is the Andine Empire. Riva Aguero aims to establish a hardline anti-syndicalist dictatorship in Peru-Bolivia. He is extremely inspired by the integralism of Brazil, but not the equality of culture that Dort Barroso promises in Brazil. Then Uruguay is led by the Liberal National Administration Council under a bipartisan leadership of the Colorado Party and the Nacional Party. Argentina is led by Juan Domingo Perón, who aims to launch his own socialist but not red revolution. Peronism aims to combine socialism with nationalism. It opposes syndicalism, totalism, or any other kind of agrarian socialism. After that, Ecuador is led by the liberal president Isidro Ayora. Paraguay is led by the national populist president Higenio Moringuio Martinez. He is a hardline Guarani nationalist who wants to restore the old order of Catholic Paraguay as it existed under the Spanish Empire. It is safe to say that Peru, Bolivia, and Paraguay are both states which have been totally inspired by the Empire of Brazil. Similar to Brazil, Higenio Moringuio Martinez wants to establish a natural order of things in Paraguay as it existed before 1789 and the French Revolution, which, in his view, destroyed everything. And then, of course, we have Gran Colombia. Gran Colombia is led by Gustavo Rojas Pinilla, who has reunified Colombia and Venezuela to form Gran Colombia. It is a bulwark against syndicalism. But he is not inspired from the integralism. Rather, he's more of a box standard military dictatorship. Tensions on the Gran Colombian Central American borders are at an all time high, and war might break up at any moment, especially because Pinilla wants to reunify Panama with Colombia. Panama acceded itself to Central America after the fall of the United States of America and the start of the Second Civil War. Now the syndicalist Central America is in stark opposition to Gran Colombia's anti-communist regime, and only the future will tell what happens there. Lastly, we have South Africa. The first is the German Empire in exile, which is ruled by Kaiser Wilhelm III. Kaiser Wilhelm III now sits on top of an extremely volatile country. Any time, the Africans might rise up, especially once the Africans look at the Third International Occupation Zone of Africa and see the socialism prevalent in that region. The Kaiser Wilhelm's rule will slowly begin to look more and more unappealing to them, and after that, revolution might be inevitable. Even though ceasefire has been signed in Africa thanks to the complete failure of the socialists to conquer the German Empire in exile, the socialists continue to encourage socialist revolutions in the German Empire. The German Empire is, however, militarily, morally, and financially supported by a new kind of overlord, the Republic of South Africa. Despite claiming to be the remnant of an old world order, the German Empire is slowly becoming more and more a South African puppet state. The Republic of South Africa is led by the National Populist President Johannes van Rensburg. Rensburg regularly meets with Kaiser Wilhelm III, and together the two have established the Pact of Durban, a pact to destroy world syndicalism and bring out a right wing counter revolution in Europe. Van Rensburg can now be called as Kaiser Wilhelm III's unofficial prime minister, because not only does he rule over the Republic of South Africa, but he also influences the German Empire in exile to an unholy degree. Van Rensburg is a member of the hardline extreme Boer wing of the National Party of South Africa. He is a white nationalist who wants total segregation. But while the moderates under Daniel Francois Malan merely wanted a white segregated democracy, the extreme wing of the National Party under Van Rensburg have some more dangerous beliefs. You see, Van Rensburg first came to power after. Okay, let's start from the beginning. After winning the elections of 1938, Daniel Francois Malan took over power in South Africa. He declared the South African Republic. This started a war with the breakaway states of Natal, Rhodesia, and the Entente. But thanks to help from the Reichspakt, the Republic of South Africa destroyed the armies of the Entente, Natal, and Rhodesia. After that, the Greater Republic of South Africa was reunified when the Portuguese monarchy fell in World War II. The Republic of South Africa has conquered parts of Angola and southern Mozambique and declared Greater White South Africa. But shortly after his victory, Daniel Francois Malan and his entire government vanished inexplicably. The next day, a declaration came. Johannes van Rensburg has succeeded him and will take revenge against the native for kidnapping and murdering beloved Malan. Van Rensburg appealed to the emotion and the religiosity of his Boer audience. He does not even pretend to be democratic. He thinks that anything that opposes the Afrikaner Volk must be destroyed. But while Daniel Francois Malan merely wanted racial segregation, Van Rensburg wants something completely different. There are reports of suspicious camps where natives go and they never return. What is happening inside those camps? Nobody knows. Empty villages, huge graveyards. For Van Rensburg believes that only the poorest deserve to live in the Republic of South Africa, and everything else is, I cannot speak about this. But this is one of the most evil men in the world. And now in charge of most of southern Africa, it is unknown what will happen in the future. In stark opposition to Van Rensburg and his new puppet state of the German Empire sits the Angolan and Mozambique Free States. In here, Buenaventura Durruti's Spanish government has established new anarchies. But Africa is not a land fit to establish an anarchist council. In reality, both the Angolan Free State and the Mozambique Free States have become dominated by local warlords who do anything they want in the name of establishing an anarchic socialist system. There are rumors of large scale revenge killings and massacres against members of other tribes by the anarchic warlords of Angola and Mozambique. Opponents of the Spanish regime, which also include the totalist governments of Western Europe, claim that, indeed, Durruti has succeeded in true anarchism, not in Iberia, but in Angola and Mozambique, where man kills man and tribe kills tribe. Despite that, the anarchists, completely isolated on the world stage, continue to exist. Today, Durruti opposes every single other power in the world. He opposes the totalist Third International, for he has exited the International altogether and established his own anarchist Fourth International. He opposes Boris Savinkov's Moscow Accord. He opposes the remnants of the Entente. He opposes the Americans. He opposes the Japanese Empire. And of course, he opposes the German Empire in exile and the Republic of South Africa. But he has found pragmatic new allies in the. You won't be able to guess it. Durruti's sole allies of pragmatism are the kingdoms of Egypt, Libya, and the Ethiopian Empire. Yes, you see, nobody else is willing to trade with the Iberian Confederation, for it is completely isolated on the world stage. As a result, Durruti has given independence to the Moroccan Socialist Republic. And this has brought him the attention of the conservative Arab monarchies who call this an act of Arab brotherhood. Thanks to giving independence to the Moroccan Socialist Republic, which is, by the way, not an anarchist state. In Morocco, normal socialist agrarian leaders managed to take over power from the anarchists and sign a pact with the Iberian Confederation, thanks to which Morocco is the only non anarchist pact in the otherwise white pact, as it is called, the Fourth International. And that is how the world stands today. This is the world that you all have created. A link to the complete map is in the video's description. Thank you for voting, and I hope to have more such polls in the future.